Okay, I think we are live. I was like, oh, he was in the middle of a story. And so we went longer today and I just kept going. I was like, hey, where is this going? Where is this going? And it was so good that it was like, oh, he was in the middle of a story. Sorry. He's talking about how he met up with somebody. So we'll go into that here in a little bit. But I think, okay, I'm in the right group. Any wins for this weekend?
I got one.
Yes, Virginia.
Okay. I did something like a couple of weeks ago. I did demographics for my area, which was very interesting. So then I took like my business card and I had it blown up like postcard size. And I go out, like whenever I run my errands or I just go out and I'm passing them around and talking to people. Well, this one lady, I was in the store and I handed her a blessing bag and my card. She was like super excited. She got on my site and ordered $100 worth. And she goes, I have 2 teenagers. And it's just like, and I was like, oh yes. So I added a new customer to my list. I was like, yay.
I love it. That's going to go into what we talked about today. I think that is amazing. Way to go.
Well, in my area, I live in a major city, but in my area, very few people have heard of paparazzi. I've got a gold mine.
You're like, you're hitting it. I think that's amazing. Way to go, Virginia.
Thanks.
Hey, I have a win, Brittany.
Yes, Robin.
Hey, so I am shooting for Life of the Party Silver. And so I created this cute little graphic and I put it out there if you could, that I have 4 days. So it's like a countdown. I have 4 days left. And if you could please support me. If you can't support me, and I put it on there, go to my website, my paparazzi website, and order 6 items or more. If you can't do that, if you could please share. And I have had quite a few people sharing. So
yay!
Yeah, it's been fun.
You're asking that if it's the here, do this, or here, do this. One way is free, one way is not. But if people can, they're going to go and do it. I think that is so smart. So smart. I love that. Any other? Sorry, I'm looking on Stephanie on. Hello, Tiana, Josie, Susan are all on Facebook. Any other wins on here before we get going? Okay, well, we're gonna get going then. I don't know if Valencia is probably still watching. I wonder if he's still live. I think he's still live. Okay, so let me switch this. Hold on. Oh, wrong screen. I really got this, you guys. Goodness. Okay. So today was on, I put it in there, intentional living. And I think it's something that it's super smart. And I know that I tend to do this as well, that I'm like, okay, I know exactly what he's talking about. And so I'm just gonna move this. Okay. It is, well, actually, let's back up as I look up at my notes. He said, number 1, we're going to push this last 30 days, or July will be the last of the 90 days. Oh, Valencia's here. And so he said, it doesn't really faze us because paparazzi is only in the US, But he said he's gonna start the really big push after the 4th of July. So he's giving us ideas as far as like warming up and different things to get conversations going. And then come the 5th of July, he's gonna push us pretty hard. So just to be prepared for that. Where I'm gonna unpin me. So Valencia, do you want, I'm just starting out. Do you want to jump in? Do you want me to
Can you hear me?
take it over?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Sure, I can jump in. Today's lesson was about intentional living. So we all know that we are in kind of the summertime. So a lot of travel, a lot of going places, a lot of visiting things. And a lot of times, Eric mentioned for himself, like he's an introvert. So typically when we go on vacation, I can even say that for myself, like I just shut off. I'm on vacation. I'm enjoying my time basically. And a lot of times, most of us like to do that, right? And so he just mentioned that we need to be intentional when we go places. So if that means you're traveling and you're going to be in the airport, be intentional about having conversations, being intentional. Like he would typically read a book and sit at the window seat and just pretty much be in his corner and shut off. But he started to be more intentional about sitting in the middle seat so he can have a conversation on his left and on his right. Or if he saw like someone walking through the airport and he gave a really good scenario about somebody that you may see dressed up, right? You may see them in their suit or cute dress or something, and you should want to stop them. So being intentional means stopping them and say, hey, you look really nice. Typically when people are traveling, they have on lounge clothes, leggings or sweatpants or something like that. So when you see someone that's really dressed up, that means that either they have really a purpose, like they are focused on something, or they're going somewhere, they're preparing for something. And so a great way to really have a conversation started with them is, you look really nice. Where are you going? And then that starts the conversation. So intentional living is really being intentional about connecting with people, whether you're traveling or whether you are in the grocery store, whether you are at the mall, wherever you are. You always want to be connecting with people. So this was a great, at least for me, a reminder, because typically when I'm out, I'm in my own little like focus in my zone, running to the grocery store and not being intentional about making a connection with people. And it doesn't have to be nothing like overthinking it. Just pay them a compliment, whether you like their shirt, their dress, and just simply start the conversation and then lead into, maybe what do you do? Or do you have kids? I noticed, say if you're in the grocery store and they see them eating a certain thing, you can ask them about the food that they have, or maybe you like what they have. Or like I was talking to someone yesterday and we just sparked a conversation about how like appliances in the grocery store were a ridiculous amount. And we just started talking from that. So be intentional was the conversation for today. So basically, he also talked about when we go on travel, maybe talking to Uber and Lyft drivers. They have a lot of commonality in what we do. So they already entrepreneur focused. They may or may not like what they do. So start sparking the conversations. It was really like not a hard lesson. We just need to be more intentional about acting on what he discussed today. He also talked about being intentional when you're in restaurants, whether you're going through fast food or whether you are at a nice, extravagant restaurant and they have great service. So if you have someone that's just like on it, and I know when I go out to eat, my server is probably tired of me after all the 100 things I asked for. So if they're giving you great service, just compliment them on their service and say, I know this can't be your end, right? So there you have to want more. What are you planning to do? Or maybe it could be that they're just doing it because they're a college student. I ran across a few that maybe just college students are not sure, what the next thing is, or maybe high school and not wanting to go to college. So be more intentional about having conversations when you are out and connecting with people, and how to transition that into, well, how can we continue this conversation? I really would love to get to learn more about you. Are you on social media? And get their information. They can give it to you. If you have your on your phone, hi, hello, link tree, whatever, they can scan it right there. You can show them how to connect. So again, this is being intentional everywhere you go, and not just focusing on really what you have going on. And if you're looking to grow, you want to be intentional every day about growing to get to that next level. One other thing he talked about that I thought was very interesting is that sometimes hold on, let me get the right word that he said. Where is it at? I didn't wrote it down. Did I lose it? Most times we over recruit a few people. So what that means is we may be talking to 5 people and we're just like bugging them. They may have said yes. And I found myself in that, like focusing on those few people that said, oh, I'll take a look. And I'm just like bugging them. And now I really feel in terms of like thirsty, right? I'm just like bugging them. Like, for instance, Robin, well, you said, Robin, can you come do this next day? Robin, can you do this? And it's like, with this person, please leave me alone. And then that's when really the real ghosting happens, or the blocking on the Facebook or unfollow. And you want to make sure that you are having conversations with a lot of people. Do not rely on your faithful 5, your faithful 10, or your faithful 20 or 30. You need to be having a lot of conversations so that you're not just so focused on those 5 people that either may have gotten exposure and they keep, oh, I'll take a look tomorrow, I'll talk to you tomorrow, or we can meet here, and then you trying to meet with them and then they go on somewhere else and they don't answer. So you want to make sure that you are, again, this is all about intentionality. Be intentional with conversations, starting them on Facebook, starting them wherever you go. Wherever you are, just try to connect with 1 or 2 people, set yourself a goal, and being intentional about connecting. And then one other thing, he kind of not really getting into the last conversation, which is why we were late, of like what he's kind of going through. But some of the nuggets that he gave us is that basically he kind of walked through a process of him introducing basically his studio to someone, trying to introduce, but his studio to someone. And basically they have children that go to the same school, and they were kind of connected through prom. They were taking prom pictures. And so he really wants to be working with this individual, right? And he has this studio that he's built, and he knows like all of the things that this studio has to offer, like really what he could do. Like his vision is really to connect with this person. And so he started this conversation, and it was just a lot of fist bumps, prayer hands, trying to connect, no response. Can we do this? No response. Go talk to this person. No response. He following up. So it went through, I'm going to say, almost 60 days of just ghosting or pushing off, or not right now, I'm busy, I really don't need it. And what he really stressed to us, it was just like what we endure every day trying to connect, is be persistent, pay compliments. And even if it's a high up person, you really, sometimes we think, well, maybe we're not, worthy enough to connect with this person. Just overly compliment and be intentional about who you're connecting with, and know that the ultimate goal is to share what you have. You have a gift, you have value that it could definitely help their life. So you have to be intentional about sharing that information with that person, no matter how many small nuggets. Again, you don't want to be like every day, Josette this, Josette that, Josette. You don't want to do it every day. You want to have some good timing in between, even if they ghost you, but don't give up. Don't get discouraged if they're doing it. Just continue to, if it's like sending them a meme, I thought of you, I seen this, or, hey, are you available today? I would love to chat with you. And then they may not respond. And then follow up maybe a couple of days later, or even sometimes maybe a week, just depending. if you are having a lot of conversations, you won't even miss that they haven't really responded in 3, 4, 5 days. You won't miss it anyway. So you just have it on your list. Oh, you know what? I never got a response back from them. Let me send them a message. So this is being intentional about having conversations, but being respectful of those that still don't understand, because a lot of times it's network marketing, really, right? That's what everybody thinks. It's network marketing. It's a pyramid scheme. I can't do this, whatever. And so they kind of basically kick the can down the road. So as long as they can kick the can down the road, you allow them to kick the can down the road. But at some point, just keep following up with them, keep checking in with them, keep sending them things just to connect with them. Don't always make it all about business, just connect as well. And then at some point, they're either going to say, Lord, let me just talk to this person so they can just leave me alone, or they will just be genuine about connecting with you. And at some point, give you an opportunity to share what you have with them, and make sure you're prepared when that time comes. Because a lot of times we may be fumbling through. And if we're fumbling through and we've been like pushing to meet somebody, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to understand. So you have pretty much lost them, and you're going to either have to start back over and then start with kind of like that apology, I really wasn't prepared type of thing. So make sure that you're prepared when you have that conversation. So whatever it is, and I had someone in the actual accelerator program kind of help me walk through what that looks like to be prepared. What is that presentation? It doesn't have to be 100% perfect, right? But have something that you really can speak and be confident and have a great posture when you're doing it, and know that what you have is a gift, and that you are just the vessel to share that gift with them. So I think I covered in a quick span. Oh, one other thing for a script that you could write down that he talked about, like if you're traveling, simple one is where are you from? And then you just quickly just like, oh my God, I am expanding my business to that area. Do you know anybody that's ambitious or entrepreneur or looking for cash flow? And then they may say, well, what is it? Most times they're going to likely say, well, what is that? What is it that you have? And then you say, well, do you have a few minutes? I got about 15 minutes. If you don't, just say, you know what, I'm in a rush right now, but I would love to connect with you when you get back home, and when I get back home, to share more about this with you and get their information and make a note to follow up. So I know that was quick. I will repeat it one more time. So when you see someone, and this is more so geared towards traveling, or if you're visiting home state or something like that, where are you from? And they will tell you wherever they're from. And then you would say, oh my God, I am looking to expand my business in this area. Do you know of anyone that is ambitious, entrepreneurial, looking for cash flow or residual income? And then depending on their response, most likely they will say, well, what do you have? Or yeah, I know someone. And then you will say, either if you have time, then, I can share it with you. That means you have to always be prepared. You always have to be prepared. So if that means uploading that video to YouTube or having it embedded in your link tree, you always have to be prepared. There is no room for not being prepared. Oh, I got to go find it. And have something. If you got a brochure or something, a blessing bag with some information, something that you can share with them, and make sure you get their information. Just a quick, you know what? I got to go. I need to go run to my gate before I miss my flight, but can I definitely get your information? I want to continue this conversation. I really think you could definitely benefit from this opportunity, or maybe someone you know, and keep it moving. Now, I know that was a lot. Does anybody need me to repeat?
Lindsay, I think you killed it.
I did. Thank you. And I didn't even go off my notes this time. It was just remembrance. I'm getting good at this, y'all. No, I'm so thank you.
Well, I think that's what it is it's just like, I do that as far as, and I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh, that's me right there.
Right.
Oh my gosh. I can't think of her name. Crystal Nemeth. She's an elite leader. And she is was totally teaching me. I was traveling with her for EMP, and every time, and then I would just sit there and laugh. because she would get on, and the minute she gets on a plane, she's handing out blessing bags and her information's in there. And I was like, dude, I was gonna give that person something. She's like, well, I did it first. And so then it turned into this joke. And even like Michelle Egan, same thing. We're walking down and somebody complimented on her earrings. And she's like, here, let me do it. And I was like, I was going to give him something. And she's like, no, you weren't. And I was like, okay, I was not prepared. And so it's just being intentional, having stuff with you. And I think that's like, as he was telling these stories, it's, do you ever go through, okay, you guys, I talk about McDonald's, okay? I love McDonald's. Let's just put it out there. And my other thing is Starbucks. As he was talking through this, it like sparked in my mind, like there's this girl at Starbucks that it's like, what is she doing here? She's so cute, has the best personality. She's like sitting there out the window asking me all these questions. I'm like, she would be perfect at this. Why have I not brought it up with her? And he talked about that. And so it's anytime you're out that it's like, here, like just bringing it up. Do you have jewelry with you? Do you have something to talk about? Do you have that you're prepared, instead of saying, hey, guess what? This is my thing. You wouldn't know that I'm in fashion and that I sell accessories because I'm not wearing anything. But guess what? I really am. And so it's just being intentional every time you go out. Here, am I wearing something? Do I have something with me? And it's just thinking about how can I start up these conversations? Like, I think you nailed it.
Anybody
So-
have any questions for us?
In 3 minutes.
And one other thing I just want to mention, what I try to do is every week, maybe set a goal, like in your weekly goals, how many blessing bags you want to pass out. So if it's, 10 bags, 15 bags, I do it more intentional, like when I'm traveling versus like every week. But I said I was going to at least maybe make a day to maybe go to the mall, right? Or wherever. And I need to pass out 10 or 15 bags a week. So just try to incorporate that during your week as part of your weekly method of operations to pass out a certain amount of blessing bags. Or I need to have 15 conversations off of social media, right? Because sometimes we get so consumed with social media and we don't like to try other methods. So maybe we need to add that as a weekly or a monthly. I need to talk to at least 20 people a month outside of social media, so that you get more comfortable at it. Because I know for me, I don't do it as often. So I'm not as comfortable with having conversations and connecting. I may have a random conversation, but I don't make the connection between be intentional from a business perspective. I'm just talking to people, but not being intentional from a business perspective.
So Valencia, 2 things. One, Florence on Zoom said she also reached out to her high-end income individuals. This is something I would not do in the past because in my mind, they would not buy costume jewelry. I got out of my head and decided to let the individuals make the choice to purchase and support my business. And so I think that is just I agree with you. Like, that's our ego. That's like, they're not going to buy from me. They're not going to do this. Well, that's up to them. And I'm going to be okay with myself no matter what. And I'm going to let them make the decision. And so you need to know inside, if they say no, it's okay. If they say yes, that's great. But I am not going to make the decision for other people. And I'm just going to keep asking because you never know. It never hurts to ask.
All right. And that's when that limiting belief comes in, because you already limited your belief that they will buy something. Some of them, rather spend their money on something else than buying expensive accessories or whatever, or may be looking for extra stream of income. So.
Or one that my mom's done that's so funny. She's like, oh my gosh, I love it. And they're like, what? And it's like, oh, that's paparazzi, right? What's paparazzi? Oh my gosh, I sell it. It is only $5. Like, you spent $5 on that, right? Please tell me you got a good deal. Or it's just however you want to work it, that it's like, she just something fun.
I like that.
Hey, a doctor bite some jewelry from me and his wife. So Susan said that she had a doctor buy some jewelry from her because she brought it up. So she's like, you never know, like, let them decide. Kim said what link to send them? Oh, a doctor bot. Okay, so I feel like, and Valencia, I'll let you answer this and we have one more minute. So
Okay.
what type of links? Because I feel like we are different because a lot of other direct sales companies, they have the whole presentation and it's like,
Right.
here, sit down and watch this. And I want to rip my eyes out. So I'm very grateful that we don't do that. But I feel like we still do have tools that are not as much, here, sit down and watch this 30-60 minute video. So I'll let you answer and then I'll give my little ideas.
So the options of like sending links, if it's really you're connecting with them as a customer, you can clearly send them your paparazzi replicated site, right? And there's a lot of information there. If you've recorded a live video, and if you have not, you should record a live video and just talk about, you know, your experience, why you joined. That's another one that you can share. Or if you have recorded the video that talks about the product, the company. I think that one for me personally is not the initial exposure. I think the initial exposure is typically a piece of jewelry with some information to connect with them. Maybe invite them to your VIP page or your business page or whatever page you have where they can see what you do and they get, you know, a bird's eye view of your jewelry as well. Or to the paparazzi site where they can directly see the company and the jewelry and see the price as well. So I would start with those 4 in your live video. And then that longer presentation that talks about product, company, right time, all of that, that is really when you are really qualifying them and they are ready to start, you know, possibly consider starting their own business. So that one is, you know, I feel like longer down the line, but maybe Brittany, you may feel differently. I just feel like that's a lot of information to kind of throw at someone. So you want to give them bite-sized pieces. And of course, the jewelry, I think for me, the jewelry is typically the easiest to start transitioning because most times they'll find something that they like. That keeps them to either want to connect with you or start the conversation to learn more.
I think you hit on that. And it's just filling it out that it's just any type of tool. And there's tons of just different tools. You can even go into our website. I'll post it in the chat, frankdivasteam.com. And you go to training, and that's what I was looking for. We talk about how to do your story, the different parts of how to say your why and whatnot. We also have on there different types of tools. And it says, well, what are the tools? Well, you can give a piece, just like you said. So, okay, we got 1 minute. I love you guys. I gotta go.
Bye. Bye, y'all.
Okay, see you guys.